the federal government, including footage from Jeffrey Epstein's cell the night that he was murdered, along with a full memo detailing their findings in a full-scale investigation that the government has leveraged against Jeffrey Epstein and his pederast cult. And you are not going to believe the findings. Let me set the table for you, though, right now. This channel has spent tens of thousands of hours detailing the malevolence of the deep state and the blackness of that entity. And not even we were prepared for what just happened. This has changed everything. To be able to commit murder in front of the world, to lie about it and cover it up, and then to officially get away with it, ladies and gentlemen, we are in dark times. Exclusive, DOJ, FBI conclude Epstein had no client list, committed suicide, and that Jeffrey Epstein committed no blackmail against powerful people. Wow. Donald Trump's Justice Department, FBI, concluded that they have no evidence that convicted sex offender and disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a client list, or was murdered, according to a memo detailing findings obtained by Axios. So much to unpack there. Let's read a little bit, and then I have some counter arguments here. The administration is releasing a video, both raw and enhanced versions, that it says indicates that no one entered the area in the Manhattan prison where Epstein was held the night he died in 2019. The video supports the medical examiner's finding that Epstein committed suicide in a 2-page memo. The findings represent the first time Trump's administration has officially contradicted conspiracy theories about Epstein's activities and deaths, theories that have been pushed by the FBI's 2 top officials before Trump appointed them to the Bureau. Social media influencers and activists Kat Cattell and Dan Bongino were among those MAGA world who questioned the official version of how Epstein died. Cattell and Bongino have since said Epstein committed suicide, but it became an article of faith online, especially on the right, that Epstein's crimes also implicated government officials, celebrities, and business leaders, and that some of them wanted to kill him in order to conceal their crime. The memo says that no one else was involved in the Epstein case will be charged. Epstein's associate Ghislaine Maxwell is serving 20 years for child sex trafficking and related offenses. I'm reading this and I can't believe what I'm reading. I can't believe what I'm reading. May 21st, 2023, this 2-year-old article details how Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed Bill Gates using a very young Russian bridge player who he set Bill Gates up with, report says. Jeffrey Epstein threatened to expose the affair between Bill Gates and Russian woman after pushing Microsoft co-founder to participate in a multi-billion-dollar charitable fund. Oh, well that sounds like blackmail to me. The entire article, you can see that Gates didn't want to donate to something that Jeffrey Epstein, some con that Jeffrey Epstein was running, and as soon as Jeffrey Epstein didn't get what he wanted, he immediately used information about Bill Gates having an affair with a Russian bridge player in her 20s to blackmail him. Yet the federal government says there's no evidence of any blackmail against powerful people. But this is the evidence. It makes absolutely no sense. Meanwhile, just a few weeks ago, Pam Bondi was out saying there's so much evidence, actually, of child predation that it's taken us months to go through it all.
They're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
So this was Pam Bondi responding to our report, James Comer, on our show, saying that the federal government had nothing. And that's all been covered up. And Pam was effusive do have something, in fact. And so is Kash Patel, for that matter. Kash Patel promising in the Senate that he's going to release absolutely everything in the Jeffrey Epstein file, including CSAM, which is child predation material that he says that they have an enormous amount of.
Like before I die, Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production of the public, such as CSAM.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So let's go ahead and read this memo and see if that squares with what we just heard from Cam Bondi and Kash Patel. Okay, here we go. I would read this on the FBI website, but it's entirely crashed right now. FBI. As part of our commitment to transparency, the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation have conducted an exhaustive review and investigative holdings related to Jeffrey Epstein. To ensure the review was thorough, the FBI conducted digital searches of his databases, hard drives, network drives, as well as physical searches of squad areas, locked cabinets, desks, closets, and other areas of responsive material that had been stored. These searches uncovered a significant amount of material, including more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence. The files relating to Epstein include a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors, and 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child abuse material and other pornography. Teams and agents and analysts and attorneys and privacy and civil liberties experts comb through these digital documentary evidence with the aim of providing as much information as possible to the public while simultaneously protecting victims. Much of the material is subject to court order sealing. Only a fraction of this material would have been aired publicly had Epstein gone to trial. The seal served only to protect the victims and did not expose any additional third parties the allegations of illegal wrongdoing. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosure of those materials and will not permit the release of CP. This systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. There was no credible evidence found that Epstein was blackmailing prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. So this is now exonerating everybody who's a friend with Epstein. Consistent with prior disclosures, this review confirmed that Epstein harmed no one, harmed over 1,000 victims. Sorry about that. Harmed over 1,000 victims. Each suffered unique trauma. Sensitive information related to these victims intertwined throughout the materials, including specific details and victim names, likenesses, descriptions, places of birth, associated and employment histories. One of our highest priorities in combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims perpetrating unfounded theories, and Epstein serves neither of those ends. To that end, we have labored to provide the public with background information regarding Epstein and ensured examination of any evidence in the government's possession and determined the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation no further disclosure will be appropriate or warranted. Whew. Goodness gracious. The conclusion that Epstein died by suicide further supported by video footage from the common area special housing unit where Epstein was housed at the time of his death. The DOJ Inspector General explained in 2023, anyone entering or attempting to enter the tier where Epstein's cell was located, the common area would have been captured in this footage. The FBI's independent review of the footage confirmed the time that Epstein was locked in his cell until 6:30 the next morning when they entered his cell and found him clinging to life, dead. During this review, the FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, balancing the color, and improving the sharpness for greater clarity. Here are the files. Those files, of course, are completely crashed. But this is what it looks like. The DOJ has released 11 hours of straight footage outside of Epstein's cell as evidence that he committed suicide. So this is not a cell necessarily, this is the tier block outside of the prison. The outside of the tier block inside of the prison, right? Of course, this footage could be tampered with, obviously. Americans want transparency. The Jeffrey Epstein files should be released for the public. the DOJ, on the DOJ website, showed the full 11 hours of Jeffrey Epstein's death. Nobody entered the cell. It was locked from the inside that night. There you go. No client list, no blackmail. But of course, yeah. So Epstein just sex trafficked kids to no one, right? The shocking thing ever, the DOJ and FBI say Epstein wasn't murdered and that Epstein didn't keep a client list. The FBI and DOJ says there is no Epstein client list. He didn't blackmail anybody, and they're not charging anyone else. Everyone's saying it's very strange. There's not a single soul who believes this. No one believes that he trafficked children to absolutely no one, right? So guys, the Epstein client list is just never existed. Hope you're hungry for nothing. This is the video. Again, I showed you the website, but it's crashing. This is it. A lot of thoughts on this, and I suppose I'll share them in the morning in a different video, but this is a cover-up.
Yeah.
It's a cover-up.
But the Democrats got it all covered.
There's so much information. There's so much evidence. It wasn't just Epstein.
Do you pay your volunteer?
It's obvious it wasn't just Epstein. There are victim statements. There's legitimate reporting out there. There's everything. There's the article that I showed you, which is just one small example of Bill Gates getting blackmailed by Epstein with sex with a very young person. That's what that was. It's been written up in Wall Street Journal, Forbes. It led to the destruction of Bill Gates' marriage. You're telling me that never happened? Well, Melinda Gates says it happened. So does Bill Gates. And then Bill Gates giggles on camera and says, you got to be careful, when he asked about the death of Jeffrey Epstein. You're telling me that the government can't scrub information and destroy evidence? We weren't born yesterday. But this is going to be now the official line. This is it. This is going to be the official line. Just like the drones over New Jersey, right? Remember how they disappeared? How powerful is Jeffrey Epstein? One final thought on this. Alex Acosta, he worked in the first Trump administration. He was asked, why didn't you prosecute Epstein? He knew he was a predator. And he said he belonged to Intel. I was told he belongs to Intel. I'm not allowed to prosecute him. There are FBI memos about Jeffrey Epstein. Where'd those go? Like him being an informant. Where's all that evidence? This is a cover-up.
Area 51?
For the cover-up. It's crazy, man. I don't really know who to blame, but I'm incredibly disappointed. So you have tens of thousands and thousands and thousands of images of just Jeffrey Epstein. Really. And